Assalamualaikum. I will show my macroeconomics presentation assignment. Question: is a low or high inflation rate an absolute indicator of an economy in a good or bad state? Explain. What high inflation rate will cause? Inflation is a loss of purchasing power that is reflected in a broad rise in price for goods and services over time. Gross domestic product or GDP, a widely used indicator, refers to the total gross value added by all resident producers in the economy. Growth in the economy is measured by the change in GDP at constant price. When inflation becomes high, unevenly rising price inevitably reduce the purchasing power of some consumers. Inflation can also distort purchasing power over time for recipients and payers of fixed interest rate. Inflation rate become high as more jobs and higher wage increase household incomes and lead to a rise in consumer spending, further increasing aggregate demand and the scope for firms to increase the price of their goods and services. As inflation rate goes higher, it gives signs such as production begins to fall. Interest rates keep increasing, buyers and customers are losing their purchasing power, and fewer fixed rate bank loans. A small but positive inflation rate is economically useful. High inflation tends to feed on itself and impair the economy's long-term performance. Higher inflation can also encourage spending, as consumers will aim to purchase goods quickly before their price rise further. Low inflation rate means that prices are now rising more slowly. Combined with wage growth, this makes the cost of living more affordable because you can buy more with the money in your pocket. This means people being able to save more, buy more goods and services, and enjoy a better quality of life. Lower inflation supports people by maintaining the purchasing power of their money. If prices only rise slowly, people can plan their budgets more effectively, encouraging spending and investment, which fuels the economy. Lower inflation also helps business grow by providing a stable, predictable environment for them to operate in, more job opportunities, and ability to research new products and services. Low inflation enhances our country competitiveness in a global market. When the economy is stable and predictable, other countries are more interested in investing in Malaysia. Finally, this can result in more money from foreign investors, gives better trade deals, and make the overall economy stronger. That's all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Irfan Ilham bin Azizan, and my ID number is BME 2311-042. I want to answer question 2. Identify and explain the types of inflation based on the article. Firstly, I want to explain what is inflation. Inflation is defined as a persistent and sustained increase in the aggregate or average price level of goods and services and in an economy. Based on the article, type of inflation is demand pull inflation. Demand pull inflation. This type of inflation happen when demand for goods and services exceed the supply, resulting in higher price. However, the article discussed the opposite scenario during crises like the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic and the 2009 global financial crisis, where inflation fell due to a significant drop in demand. Negative inflation or deflation occur because consumers were spending less due to business closure, movement restriction, and general economic construction. Decrease in consumer demand. Lockdowns and movement restriction led to a significant drop in consumer spending, especially on non-essential goods and services. With fewer people dining out, traveling, or shopping for non-essential items, the demand for these goods and services plummeted. Then, negative inflation or deflation. In some cases, the economic slowdown was so severe that it led In some cases, the economic slowdown was so severe that it led to deflation, where the general price level of goods and services decreased. For example, during the pandemic, Malaysia experienced a negative inflation rate of negative 1.9% in 2020 due to reduced demand. Then, based on the article, the types of inflation is cost push inflation. Cost push inflation occur when a shortage of supply of labor, raw material, crop failure, or capital drive up the cost of production and reduce the aggregate supply, thereby raising the price level. Aggregate demand still remains the same, but since there are fewer goods or services, the supplier can charge more per unit. Cost push inflation can only occur if the demand for the end product or service is inelastic, such as petrol, because people cannot find other substitute goods to replace it. If the demand is elastic, then people will either buy less of the product or switch to other cheaper good. There are various factors causing the leftward shift in the aggregate supply, such as fall in exchange rates. A fall in the external value of a country currency will worsen inflation as lower exchange rate will cause import to become more expensive. Hence, firm will have to pay more for their imported raw material or machinery. This will increase the cost of production and result in a cost push inflation. Additionally, cost push inflation happen when the cost of production increase, leading to higher price for finished good and service. The article provides an example from the East Asian economic crisis of 1997 until 1998, where Malaysia experienced a sudden fall in the value of the ringgit, leading to increased production costs and inflation soaring to 5.3% in 1998. That's all for me. Thank you.
Monetary policy adjustment. Interest rate management. The central bank can adjust interest rate to influence borrowing and spending. Increasing rate can help cool down an overheat economy by making loans more expensive, thereby reducing consumer spending and investment. Okay, second point, open market operation. Selling government securities can absorb excess liquidity in the banking system, helping to control inflation. Fiscal policy measures. Government spending control. Reducing unnecessary government expenditure can help limit inflationary pressure. This can involve cutting back on non-essential public projects or services. Second, tax adjustment. Implementing taxes on luxury goods or increasing specific taxes can reduce disposable income, thereby decreasing demand and controlling inflation. Okay, third, supply side intervention, enhancing production capacity. Investing in infrastructure and technology can boost production efficiency, leading to increased supply and potentially lower prices. Supporting key industries, providing support to sector facing production cost increases. Number 4, trade policies, reducing import tariff. Lowering tariff on essential goods can help reduce prices and elevate inflationary pressures, especially if domestic production is insufficient. Diversifying trade partners, expanding trade relationship can help secure more stable prices for imports, mitigating the impact of supply shocks. In conclusion, these policy measures should be evaluated against the backdrop of current economic conditions, including consumer sentiments and global economic trends. A balanced approach that combines monetary and fiscal strategies along with supportive supply side initiatives can effectively manage inflation while promoting sustainable economic growth. I will continue to the last question.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Farzala binti Muhammad Aziz. My ID number is BME23111017. So now I'm going to explain about the question 4, which is the consequences of prolonged reduction in inflation. So I have 4 consequences here. So first, reduce consumer spending. So consumer may choose to delay spending. This is because they believe that price will continue to fall. So they might hold off on buying goods like cars, electronics, or even a home. So they will wait for the price to drop even further. So secondly is increase real debt burden. So borrower is especially businesses and individuals with fixed rate loans will face a higher real debt burden because the value of money increases. So this situation will cause a worse economic recession. So for the third one is unemployment rising. So when the economy does not grow, the creation of a job opportunity also stops. So this can cause the unemployment rate to increases. So for the last one is economic stagnation. Economic stagnation refers to the situation in which something stays the same and does not grow and develop. So this can lead to reduced investment as business become more cautious in making decisions. So this can give our economy does not developing smoothly. So that's all from me. Thank you.